What action is not against the law, but would still make you look like a psychopath if you did it? Walk into a crowded elevator and not turn to face the doors. I assume you all want to know why I gathered you here today. Walk down the street carrying a glass of water from home. I once saw a woman driving while eating a bowl of cereal. A bowl of cereal with a spoon. Apply lip balm using both hands. Stop responding in the middle of a real-life conversation, but continue making eye contact. Sorry, I lagged for a second. Wear a wedding veil to someone else's wedding. That reminds me of my uncle's wedding, when my grandmother said I should wear my white dress because it was beautiful. But I chose something else because I, like some other people, thought it would be strange. When the wedding started, it turned out that the bride had arrived in a pink dress. Naturally, my grandmother spent the rest of the day enjoying the fact that she had been right. Exercise while wearing a classic suit. I had a classmate who even attended physical education classes in a suit. His entire wardrobe consisted of about 20 identical suits, including the shoes and ties. Walk around a supermarket and take the things you need out of other people's carts before they have paid for them. I did this accidentally once. I confused someone's cart with the cart an employee was using to restock shelves. I saw an entire cart full of socks that I needed, but there were none left on the shelf, because some old man had apparently decided to buy all of them. Eat unpackaged food directly from your pockets. This reminds me of a guy at my old job whom we nicknamed Nuggets. He was still new at the time. Apparently, he had not finished his lunch, so he stuffed chicken nuggets and ketchup packets into his pockets. He kept looking around, putting a nugget into his mouth, squeezing in a little ketchup, and chewing quickly. I let him finish the nuggets, then told him that eating at the workstation was allowed. Accidentally keep heading in the same direction as the car or pedestrian in front of you. It becomes even creepier when it continues for a long time, and the people keep turning around and seeing you. This happened to me, and it was awful. I made eye contact with a woman in the city center, and we clearly noticed each other. 15 minutes later, we met again on a bus, then got off at the same stop in another part of the city. After that, I walked down the same street as her, all the way to her house. She simply lived on the street where I was going to visit my cousin. When someone holds a door open for you in a building with 2 doors, walk through the other one instead of using the door they are holding. Write letters from the bottom upward. Dress like a penguin and walk on all 4s. At the end of every workday, my boss applied lip balm while looking directly into my eyes. It was always deeply unsettling, and I still do not understand why he did it. Wait, is it just me? Or should the main question here be why you were looking into his eyes at the same time every day? Maybe he called him into the office every day so that he could witness the boss applying lip balm. Jefferson, please come into my office and watch me apply lip balm. Announced over the loudspeaker so everyone knew what was about to happen in the boss's office. Stand silently beside a road near a line of trees at night. I once did this in the moonlight while taking out the trash. I turned off my flashlight and simply enjoyed the quiet night. Then I heard rustling in the bushes, and suddenly my flashlight died and never worked again. But yes, it was a nice night. Instead of holding a door open, especially at a restaurant with double doors, close it immediately after you enter or leave. Pull your pants and underwear all the way down to your ankles while using a men's urinal. There was a boy in my elementary school who did this. He usually used a stall, but one day he did it at the urinal and shouted, "Oh, I am not in a stall." Then he turned around, stared directly into my eyes, and did not look away for a while. Fly a kite at night. Dig holes in your yard at night. Just a little nighttime excavation. A politician in our country once bit into a hot dog from the side, directly in the middle, like it was a sandwich. It was so strange that the story appeared in the newspapers the next day. Apparently, there was not much other news that day, but the guy genuinely looked unhinged. I worked in a pub and once served a very inexperienced Chinese businessman. He ordered a burger, studied it for a few seconds, stuck a fork into the center, and started eating it like an apple on a stick. I asked whether everything was all right. He shrugged and said, "Sorry, I have not figured out how to eat these yet." Stand beside someone at a urinal, even though there is an empty one at the other end of the row. Wow, you hold it with one hand and I use 2. cool. See you tomorrow. Eat a banana with the peel still on. Put on your shoes before putting on your pants. Edited. Unless you are in the military. Apparently that is normal there. Put a rug in the kitchen or bathroom. Calmly eat butter straight from the package during a business meeting. My aunt once did this. In her defense, she had just undergone surgery and was on morphine. She thought it was a cheese platter. Offered children candy from a van covered in homemade logos. Eat in a public place without using your hands at all. Go to the gym or anywhere else, carrying a chocolate syrup bottle that you use as a water bottle. Wear a wedding dress everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Huh. I had a classmate who wore her dress to especially difficult exams. She said she liked how she looked in it, and that it improved her mood, so she wore it for motivation. It was a little strange, but also very fun. Scream in the street for no apparent reason, purely because you have been overwhelmed by existential dread. Before 2020, that might have been strange. After 2020, when I see someone screaming in the street, I calmly walk over and join them. Fart, and then take a deep breath in a public place. Take a deep breath after someone else farts in a public place. Ride an escalator while facing the wrong direction. As a child, I often ran upward on a downward moving escalator when nobody was around. Sometimes I stood at the end and walked in place like I was on a treadmill. I thought I was incredibly cool. Pour vinegar onto mac and cheese. I learned that it curdles the cheese. I did it once and never repeated it. Play Highway to Hell at full volume during a funeral. It is one of my father's favorite songs, and he used it as his ringtone. He works for a small family business, and the staff were invited to the funeral of the boss's mother. He forgot to silence his phone, and someone called him. The song started blasting during the procession. Fortunately, everyone laughed. Brush your teeth in a public place. Edited. Some people thought I meant brushing your teeth in a public restroom after eating, as though that makes you a psychopath. I used to have braces, so I completely understand a quick brush and rinse after a meal. I meant brushing your teeth somewhere like a movie theater while the credits are playing, or something like that. My husband had a strange, eccentric uncle whom we did not know very well. He was some kind of successful, wealthy dentist. We were driving behind him from church to a family wedding reception when we noticed him doing something strange while staring into the rearview mirror. Then he opened the car door and spat out a mouthful of toothpaste. His children said he could start brushing his teeth literally anywhere, including at a shopping mall beside a swimming pool, then spit into a trash can. A couple of years later, he was arrested for tax evasion. His daughter left and completely cut off contact with him, while his son still has a warm relationship with his father. So, yes, in my personal experience, psychopaths really do brush their teeth in public. My friend eats the crust of a pizza first. He eats every crust from the entire pizza before eating the main part. One day, my manager read some book about managing people, then told me that I was doing a good job. He shook my hand and stood there for about 30 seconds, still holding it in complete silence while looking directly into my eyes. Apparently, it was supposed to be some confident display of dominance or something similar, but in reality, it was just strange and creepy. Bite into a Kit Kat without separating it into individual bars. Walk around with an inflatable doll while claiming that you are married to it. Vacuum your yard. By the way, it is a great chemical-free way to stop dandelions from spreading. A lot of the things I do as an autistic person. I put beach pebbles in my mouth. I suddenly make strange noises. I shout, "Babs!" in the middle of a supermarket. I collect things I find on the ground. I touch trees and railings with my hands. I am 30 years old. I graduated with honors, and I enjoy sucking on small stones at the beach. Go into Starbucks and order milk with ice. I lived in China for several years. Men there clear their throats very loudly and spit constantly, literally everywhere. Even in respectable full-service restaurants, men spit on the floor. It is so normal that the servers put newspapers on the floor in advance for groups of men who have come to eat, drink, and socialize. I could tolerate a lot, but that always drove me completely insane. Sit on a park bench, open a jar of mayonnaise, and aggressively eat it with your bare hands. Use a knife and fork to cut every French fry into small, neat pieces. Ask a restaurant server to bring water in a bowl, place it on the floor, and then greedily lap it up. A couple of years ago, my neighbor was very fond of an evening gin and tonic after work. One afternoon, he poured himself a generous glass of gin and realized that he had no tonic. The entire neighborhood then watched him walk from door to door, carrying a glass of gin and asking people for tonic. Ask an elderly person to give up their seat for you on a bus. Watch television, except it is your neighbor's television, and you are standing on the sidewalk outside their window. Hang framed photographs of yourself around your home. Honestly, after years of hating myself, I think I deserve a little self-admiration. I let my husband choose which family photographs he wanted to print and frame. I expected him to choose a picture of my late father, our son, and a few family photos. Instead, every single one was a photograph of me. This man enlarged 25 pictures of me, had them professionally framed, and hung them throughout the house. He refuses to let me take them down because he says, I look beautiful in everyone. It is unbelievably embarrassing. My dog attacked a bird, and I fell to my knees like I was in Braveheart screaming, "No!" I looked up and saw my neighbor standing outside with a cup of coffee, watching everything. I said, "He ate the bird." The neighbor said nothing, took a sip of coffee, and eventually went back inside. I was completely shaken by the situation. However, the first thing I said when I entered my own house was, "Our neighbor is a complete psychopath." But honestly, not long ago, I also arrived at work carrying a glass of ice water from home. Oh God, I also used to carry chicken in my pockets and handbag and call it pocket chicken. I think this thread is helping me learn something about myself. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments below the video, tell us about an action that is not against the law, but would still make you look like a psychopath if you did it. Do not forget to watch our other videos. Hugs. Bye.